I feel like if you're tuning in from all corners of combat sports, there's a piece for everyone. And that's what I
Exactly.
think is going to make this one of, if not the most explosive non pay per view, in my opinion.
I'll tell you what. It's very difficult to predict because that depends on how the fights go. But I think on paper, this is definitely the best non-pay-per-view. You know, I think it's the most action-packed, and I think the fights could be very exciting. I think the matchmaking on this was done specifically to provide entertaining fights. Um, and and a lot of the time it does go that way, but sometimes you get stinkers too, so you never know. But it's very unlikely that this is going to be it's very likely that this is going to be a very strong card.
Awesome. And before we get to the questions from the KSI Twitter community, everyone should join. Greatest community on this platform. I want to ask you, Mams, what do you think is going to be your fight? What is your pick for fight of the night?
Let's see. I think that Idris and Ty is going to be fantastic. um and honestly, Fox against Waleed has it's we've been edged so much to for that fight, and we've just been waiting for that, and finally it's happening. That's a really exciting fight. The styles again in these fights are very favorable for a lot of action. You've got Joey Knight against Hausen. Both guys come forward fighters, very aggressive. Waleed's style, Fox's style, they're both going to go for the knockout. They're not particularly defensive fighters at all. I think those two certainly. I think the Survivor tag's going to be a lot of fun because of the new rule set from the small council, so it should go a lot more smoothly as well. Jordan Banjo, he's one to watch. All of them, I'm really gassed about all of them. I'm gutted that Julie Poker couldn't make this fight. Obviously, I'm very big on her. She was Misfits Fighter of the Year last year, so we tried to keep the same card that we had from Derby previously from the postponement, and add some fights from Manchester. And unfortunately, Julie couldn't make it because of previous plans, but we'll have her back very soon as well. Just wanted to address that.
On the topic of Julie Poca, I actually wanted to ask: is that bout specifically with her opponent Ariel Wild? Is that going to get rescheduled on a future card, or is it looking like Julie might have a different opponent?
I think so. I think that's an exciting fight. Um, there's a story there. There's definitely gonna be. Again, in terms of experience, Area's definitely going to be Julie's toughest competition to date. I think we keep that fight if we can. Um, and if Julie has it her way, she's going to be fighting probably at least another 4 times this year, aside from that fight. So we're working on all kinds of stuff for Julie.
Hello, man.
Oh, that's
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I disappeared onto another space and now I'm back. I just sort of want to, I don't know what you guys have covered and what you haven't, but I sort of wanted to go over those pro fighters as well, because obviously we spoke in our last Misfits News episode, the integration of how the pro scene is going to happen. Can you talk me through these pro fighters, why people should tune in to watch these guys grow in this scene?
The pro, as in MF Pro, yeah.
Yeah, the MF
So
Pro and the pros fighting on this card.
well, this is the thing, like I feel like we have an established fan base that loves Misfits, that enjoys Misfits, and this is a great introduction to some of these guys where you see their skill level, a mere multi-time national champion, Dylan Price, 19-0 with 13 knockouts at 122 and 119 is almost unheard of. So this guy, I want you guys to really keep an eye on their journey. They're both future world champions. And obviously the co-main event, Ty and Idris, is a pro fight too. So, I think sprinkling some of that on there, it's it makes sense. And as the general evolution of Misfits is progressing, um, it's it's going to be, MF Pro is going to take on its own shows and have its own identity in a sense where um nowadays the fan base of Misfits is so educated on boxing and on combat sports in general. So not everyone just wants to watch influencer boxing and crossover boxing. They want to watch pros. But also understand, in order to solidify the identity of the three separate products under the umbrella, we have to create draw a line in the sand there a little bit. So that's coming, but it's just a natural part of the evolution, kind of like a spin-off show is. You have the crux of the show. The people tune in for a certain product, and then they'll still watch the sideline, the side stories, and then if they want to follow that journey, they can as well on a separate show. So that's the idea.
Absolutely, and I definitely think these two have the potential to be world champions and really grow in this scene. And Mams, there's another question I had, which again I don't know whether it's been asked before, but Chase Demoor was originally meant to fight Roman Fury. Obviously, we know there's been some changes there. So could you talk me through his new opponent in Tank Tolman? Obviously, this is again for the heavyweight championship. Who is Tank Tolman for those who don't know?
So Tank Tolman is a former MMA fighter. Stayed active, been was plagued by a few injuries, but he's very much back in shape now, and he's got a massive following. Um, he's got massive engaged following, does videos that go viral all the time. He's a true Viking. Tells me he's from a Viking bloodline as well. And listen, the guy's a tough guy. We've spoken about this fight. See, I've tried to make this fight happen 3 or 4 times previously, and for one reason or another, scheduling and that kind of thing, it just never happened. And he was actually supposed to fight Tempo Arts when Tempo was champion, um, and then the American event got it didn't take off, so we didn't end up putting it on. So he's been waiting patiently in the sidelines for this opportunity, and I think it's going to be Chase's toughest challenge to date as champion.
What does it sort of mean for Chase? Because obviously, last time out in Qatar, there was a lot of criticisms on Chase's performance, and some people didn't believe it was the greatest thing that they've seen from him. So, what does this mean for Chase going into this fight? As you say, this is possibly his hardest fight to date, apart from one other one. But what do you expect to see from him as a champion now?
Yeah, I definitely want to see improvements. I think I've seen improvements from his sparring and everything, and he's come such a long way from when he started. Love him or hate him, he gets a lot of hate and criticism, but you can't deny that he's just there and he doesn't go away, and he's a tough, durable guy. Who's, if you judge his first fight against Josh Bruckner to the way he fights now, he's come a long way, and he's a big, strong lad who has always been open to taking anyone on. So I think he knows his last performance. Styles make fights. It's very hard when you've got someone that much bigger than you that's putting his weight on you to actually make an exciting fight, and I think that was part of his frustration. Um, from Qatar, but he promises to showcase vast improvements and more, um, and an ability to put a big guy like Tank Tolman away, and Tank Tolman obviously begs to differ.
I love to hear it. And obviously, I want to send things back off to Ghazi in 1 second, but I just want to get involved in this again. Well, there's a big fight that I think people are even almost overlooking: Darren Till versus Darren the Dentist Stewart. I mean, this was originally meant to be on the KSI versus Dylan Dennis card, but now we have it as our main event in May. I mean, can you talk me through this fight? I mean, I'm super excited because what Darren Till did out there to Anthony Taylor is something I did not expect to see. And I think he's a massive superstar in the making.
He's got an unbelievable team that he trains with. He's dedicated to boxing, and he's still not at his roof as a fighter, which is the scary part. This guy, you see all this stuff about Misfits. Obviously, we've been absent for a little while, but our last show was by far the highest non-pay-per-view in terms of numbers that we've ever done. And a lot of that is attributed to Darren Till and his persona. He's got the gift of the gab. He's not afraid of any man. He's there to take any fight. Um, and I think he's got a massive, massive future ahead of him. And again, this is a great challenge for him because people who are familiar with Darren Stewart, the dentist, know that he's a very, very tough guy. So this is an opportunity for Darren Till, that is, to showcase what he's all about, and it's a real challenge. Anthony Taylor, a lot of people, I saw polls favoring Anthony Taylor winning by 70%. Um, I think Anthony is has guts beyond almost anyone on the scene as well. He'll always say yes to any fight, but he was just heavily outweighed, and also on that occasion outskilled. Even though he did have a very successful, I think it was, what was it, fourth round, or I think it was the fourth round. He had a very good fourth round, but Darren is, I don't know if you saw the way he sidestepped and uppercutted Anthony, and the way his timing and his accuracy is very, very good. So yeah, I'm very the company's very excited about Darren Till in general, and I think that it's a matter of just fighting a lot of big names, and we've got some lined up. He definitely wants to redeem some of his MMA losses, and I think he would quite easily, to be honest with you. So we got big things planned for Darren.
For me, for sure, a pay-per-view start in the making. Now, I just want to head over to Ghazi. Sorry for interrupting you guys, but Ghazi, I know you had some questions prepared.
Thanks, Bill.
Absolutely no worries. Thank you, BL. And we're going to go to the questions from the KSI community. So the first question comes from Max. And this question relates to the undercard shifting from unfinished business to blind and brawlers. He asks, why was Harley Ben versus Joe Laws not part of the new 21? And are Misfits planning on rescheduling this?
We are planning on rescheduling it. It was a matter of their schedules. A lot of people, a lot of boxers or fighters after their fight plan holidays and things like that. And Joe's the character, and he was like, "Look, please, can you reschedule it between this date and this date?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's not just our decision. Obviously, DAZN have to let us know what works in terms of dates, and it didn't work with his date. So I speak to him and Harley quite frequently, and we still want to put that fight on. I think it'll be a hell of an exciting fight to watch. But again, I think when that fight probably will now happen at the launch of MF Pro.
Ooh, exciting. And on the topic of MF Pro, one of the questions that was asked in the community is from a guy named Capo. He asks, at what point can we expect Misfits to establish clear distinction between pro, crossover, and influencer events? I guess this is referring to Misfits MMA shows, Misfits Pro shows, if you said. When could we expect to see the launch of Misfits Pro? Could it be sometime in the summer, end of the year? I'm guessing we can't get a specific day, obviously.
I'm not going to give a specific date just yet, but MF Pro will have its own separate shows, like we said, between US and UK, and the crossover and influencer fights will take place on the same cards, because that's a much more gray area in terms of the lines aren't quite as defined. Crossover basically means you're anything but a pro boxer, right? On the whole, that's gonna be what it's gonna look like. So you can have MMA guys against YouTubers but these are higher level influencers that have committed to boxing and want a challenge, like seeing Gibb fight against someone like a Frankie Edgar or something like that. Those are going to be possible on the crossover lineups. Former UFC guys against soccer players, against YouTubers, against whoever is at a level which will actually be defined and shown in the rankings. So you're going to have separate rankings for crossover and separate rankings for the influencer circuit. So you might see Modine ranked, but it won't be on the crossover list. And I think that's going to provide people with what they've been yearning for, which is a little bit more definition on what's what. And it will also stop some of the guys who are taking it less seriously from being intimidated by the Misfits brand, because you got guys that fight on other shows. That what's the other one called that they do every year? The quite woke people. I can't remember their names. iDubbbz and his missus, so they do these shows, but there's a lot of fighters on there, and they're intimidated to come onto Misfits just because the standard of boxing has elevated. So we want to reassure those guys that they'll be matched evenly and they won't be fighting someone who's more advanced, and the entertainment factor has to stay there. And also this will incorporate tag teams and survivor tags and things like that as well.
Awesome, a lot to look forward to. And on that influencer boxing side, I want to ask you, Mams, has there been any progression with the with the Angry Ginge and Mashtag Brady fight? It was spoken about, I think, back in January, where they two had a bit of a scuffle at the event. And from then on, we've heard that, yeah, they might be interested if they go back to the original rules. Is there an update on that, or no?
Yeah, I've spoken to management, and that's something we're working on. So I think we'll make it happen. But basically, they want to agree about 2 weeks before, so no one gets a proper camp. So it's going to be quite hard to time it, but we'll get there. But I think that's going to take place at some point this year.
2 weeks before is a very interesting way to go about a fight, I think.
Yeah, and also I've got this. This is really going to be fun and exciting. Small council and I spoke yesterday. The Modine Wakey Wines fight is going to be absolutely action packed. Do you know why, Ghazi?
Why, Mams? I'm not too sure. Is it
Because they're
the
gonna they're gonna have 5 1-minute rounds.
five 1 minute rounds? That's definitely a first.
So they're gonna go all out, and listen, it's even a minute in there. If you've ever sparred or had a fight in the ring, you know that it feels like an eternity sometimes. But I feel like rather than them just being sluggish and walking around and not being able to even keep their hands up, I think that this will benefit the audience in terms of the action that we'll see in the ring, and they're gonna have more time to basically give it their all.
That's definitely going to be really interesting to check out. And as you said, it creates a quite distinct difference between crossover boxing and influencer boxing.
100%. And then, like we say, we've seen people say, like, why are the pros calling out the influencers and so on and so forth. So we're gonna define those lines. And look, if you're a high level crossover boxer and you want to fight a pro, or you want to really start fighting pros only, you can do that too. And then we will have an annual super card, um, which there'll be more on later, an annual supercard which will incorporate all three brands.
Ooh, really exciting. Could we see that super card maybe incorporate a bit of MMA, since Misfits is planning on doing MMA? Maybe we can have a hybrid between boxing and MMA shows for as a first.
Whatever is involved with Misfits will be basically involved in that supercard. So if MMA is launched before the supercard comes on, then absolutely yes.
Exciting. Well, that's something to look forward to. A question I've got from Duke relates to the new styles of posters Mr. Fitz have putting out. Obviously, with the KSI Dennis fight, it was inspired by Scarface. We had the black and white tone. This new event is
I thought it was inspired by Jake against Anderson Silva. Isn't that what people said?
that's what a lot of certain people were saying, but all-time classic Scarface, one of my favorite movies, and I like this new style that Misfits is going for. The question that Duke has is Misfits moving away from the X series format? For example, on this poster in the last, there was no X, and and the banner no longer states MF Zone X series, rather Misfits Boxing 21. Is this the new norm to expect with Misfits? We're no longer going to be seeing X series on the posters. How's it going to work?
We still see them on the DAZN posters. It's a DAZN, it's basically a DAZN property. So it's, we'll still have, it's still X series, but essentially, how often do you ever hear anyone saying, "Hey guys, did you watch X series 21 or X series 18 or whatever?" You know, so we're leaning into what you guys, what the people, the audience, and the fan base is wanting and seeing. So yes, it's still part of the X series, but really we're leaning into the fact that it's Misfits 21, Misfits 22, etc. And we're naming the events and bringing some, excitement. I haven't seen a fight poster with everyone in Peaky Blinders style suits before, so I just thought some people are going to like it, some people are going to hate it, but I think it's something interesting and new and keeps things fresh.
Oh no, I really like the new change. I think change in itself is good, and having more experimental styles posters just makes Misfits stand out from everyone else, rather than just a traditional two people facing down with a random color.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think it's better as well. So it gives us a little more creative freedom. So I'm grateful we've been able to do that after a couple of years and yeah, I'm looking forward to there's some other really cool themes coming too. So I'm excited to get into all of that.
Interesting. Well, I want to ask one question that is related to the unfinished business card. Dylan Dennis recently put out a tweet after, unfortunately, the bout with KSI was cancelled, and then his MMA bout with Tony Ferguson was also cancelled. We saw that you left a tweet under, or you left a reply under his tweet, ma'am, saying that he will be fighting soon. Could you elaborate on that, or is there anything happening? What's going on, ma'ams?
I'm working on it behind the scenes. I think it'll be cool for Dylan to fight. I think he's had a rough time obviously with his fights being cancelled, and to be fair to him, he was ready to show up. I told you guys, and I got clowned that he's actually doing a boxing camp. He wasn't filming that and showing it. He was just showing his MMA. But I know for a fact that he had boxing trainers, a boxing gym, a boxing camp, and he was really getting ready. So, like, I don't want him to. I feel like I don't want it all to go to waste for him. And yeah, he'll be back. Um, I can't say too much more on that just now,
I just want
but
to
I'm very
I
confident
just
he'll
want
be
to
back.
add to what you said there, Mams, to because we actually had some guys recording out there with Dylan Dennis in the States, and he was actually boxing training and he was sparring, he was putting the work in. So many people doubt that he would have even turned up, etc. Well, we can actually say firsthand he was
I,
putting the work in.
I know Dylan fairly well. This guy, it's been eating away at him ever since the prime card that he didn't let his hands go, that he didn't showcase that he's more capable than he was than what was on display that night. And this was the opportunity for him. So like for him this was going to be a redemption in terms of look, obviously, I fully believe that KSI would have beaten Dylan. I'd have no doubt about that. But I do think he would have shown a lot more heart and courage during that fight. Um, having kind of having had the experience he had with Logan, and look, with Logan, he really didn't. I think um he was so obsessed with the social media part of it all that he really didn't actually stay training, and it wasn't, obviously we all watched it. There was elements of entertainment in that fight, but it wasn't a great fight to watch, was it? And that haunts him, and I think the only way he can rectify it is to show that he's made of more than what he showed that night. So it's a matter of time. I think he's very talented as a fighter, and especially his jujitsu is on another level. It's really, really world class. Um, but yes, he's got some demons to slay in the boxing world, and then potentially in MMA. So, um, That's all I'll say about that. And Ghazi, feel free to ask me like the most horrendously difficult questions you need to. I'm not running from anything. I want to make sure everyone's satisfied after your round of questions.
All right, then. If we're gonna go for some heavy hitter questions,
Hold on, I'm
I'm good.
just texting you. Just kidding.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Go
no, no,
ahead. Go ahead.
I wasn't gonna ask anything too
No, you
risky,
can.
but
You can. I don't mind.
well, before I get on to some more questions in the community, I have a question I'd like to ask you.
Mhm.
Just the other day, Tommy Fury announced his return to the ring, sometime in May in Budapest. I know in the previous space, it was revealed that Tommy Fury has, I think it was two or
Two
three fights
fights.
on the Misfits. Yeah, two fights on the
Yeah.
Misfits. W- Is there any development on Tommy Fury potentially headlining another show this year? How does the Budapest event work? What's going on?
Look, as you know, our philosophy a lot of the time is you don't you don't want a bunch of fighters being unhappy and not being able to do things and take other opportunities. As long as I think it's communicated respectfully and done the right way, we're pretty fair and open like that. And yeah, I have no doubt we'll see Tommy back.
100%. And we've just gotten Chase Demoor, one of the fighters on this event, up on the stage. Chase, how are you?
What?
He asked how you are, Chase.
Shit. Oh, I said, oh, I'm good. I'm just getting my coffee. I'm starting my workouts of the day, man. It's good. How's everybody else doing?
We're good. We're good. How you feeling about this fight?
What fight?
Never mind. Ghazi, next question.
That ain't a fight, Mams. What do you mean asking me that ridiculous question? That's a charity match. That's a beat down, man. They're gonna arrest me for the beating. I'm gonna beat on that dude. That guy thinks that he's Kratos from God of War. That guy's like the fat Caesar from fucking 300 BC. That's who he is.
Why do people with abs keep getting called fat?
Well, because when you're on HGH and they stick out like a beer gut, I don't. It still looks fat. If you put a T-shirt on and it sticks out, it looks fat. All right, HGH is a hell of a drug.
Well, I mean, we will be testing for sure,
Listen,
and I've been
I
assured there is no HGH. But tell me this, so on a serious note, Chase, this guy has a lot of combat sports experience. He's this is ha- We've been trying to make this fight for a while too, right? I brought this up to you. When did I bring this up? Last year?
yeah.
Are you what? How do you see yourself? What are you gonna do? How does this fight look in comparison to the last one? We were talking about Big Kells earlier, and I was saying how Big Kells is a very awkward big guy, so it's difficult to display your skills. How do you think you'll combat that against a big guy like Tank Tolman?
Listen, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. I am a gangster. All right. Listen, I fought Kells. Kells was 40 pounds heavier and 4 inches taller, and has more knockout power than anybody. I fought Alan Belcher, who is 10 times the fighter that Tank Tolman at 40 something years old will ever be. And thirdly, like, I'll be surprised if this guy even makes it to the ring. Based on his track record, this guy has had injuries in his last two fights. Whatever, it is what it is. But listen, if he makes it past the second round fighting me, then I don't need to be boxing anymore. That's how I look at it. I would
Oh.
retire. I would retire from the sport of boxing if this guy lasts longer than 2 rounds with me. I don't think he looks good. I think he trains very poorly. The guy's lifting weights, has power lifter in his bio. He's using his daughter as like a dumbbell to like move things well. And listen, like, I don't usually have standards when it comes to fight promo and calling people's families out, but it almost feels like I'm picking on him at this point because it's too easy. I feel like a bully in high school, if I'm being honest with you.
He's had a lot of experience.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of experience too, but listen, the girls still leave, man. It doesn't matter.
I think I just wanted to jump in really, because obviously as we spoke earlier, man, the fight originally put on was Roman Fury versus Chase, and it's a fight that a lot of people were excited for, and I think a lot of people were doubting whether Chase could even win that fight. So is that something
That
potentially?
was win, win. Win. That was gonna be a murder. That was, buddy. Roman knew what was gonna happen. Roman knew damn well he was gonna go in there with the worst influencer fighter, and he was about to get gloved to chin. All right, like I was about to beat that man so badly, and I was gonna look at John, and I was gonna let John know. Listen, they're gonna call Child Protective Services on me for the ass whooping I just put on my new son. And then Tommy's gonna get it, Tyson's gonna get it, and John, if you get out of that chair with that shirt off, you're gonna get it too. I'm chinning everybody.
So following up on that, is this a fight that we can potentially see down the line, or is this something that's completely written off now? Obviously, I know Ghazi brought up that they've done their own promotion, etc. Do you think we can still make this happen later on down the line?
Hello?
Oh, that was for Mams. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, yes, I'd like to see that. Sorry, I thought you were asking Chase. And I was just taking care of my dog.
Not
Um,
Nams. The
yeah,
real
I
question.
look the you know, Chase. At the end of the day, I tried very hard to make that fight happen.
Yeah.
I bent over backwards to try and make it happen, and look, if they want to fight, if Roman wants to fight you, the fight's there. It's up to Roman.
Yeah. Listen, that's not even the main storyline. The main storyline is you got, this is probably the most stacked card of heavyweights I've ever seen. You've got like 7 heavyweights fighting on this card, all right? And I need to know that they're all my children. All right. So Roman's gonna have to take a ticket and get in line eventually.
I mean,
Yeah.
Jay,
Uh,
seeing Tempo Arts in the card, especially in that tournament, how does that make you feel? Obviously, last time out, you had a very close bout in the
Tempo
Pride card.
Arts Tempo Arts better not even look in my direction. You know what I'm gonna do, BL? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna print that letter from the PBA, because fuck the PBA, that says that I beat his ass and they're sorry that they can't overturn it, right? And I'm gonna walk in there, I'm gonna go sit right next to him. I want him to feel so uncomfortable that I'm just staring at the side of his 4 necks that he has, all right? And then I'm gonna let him know, listen, buddy, I've infiltrated your life, I've taken your belt. I've taken your pride. I've taken your boxing career since you've retired, and you've only unretired that I'm not your mandatory. And I've taken your coach while I'm at it. And if you keep talking to me funny, I'm going to take his girlfriend.
And who do you think is going to win that tournament? I mean, I'm not going to react to anything you said there, but who do you think who believes is going to win that tournament?
If I'm being honest with you, I think Big Top is going to win.
What makes you say that? Why wouldn't you say the previous champion is going to win it?
Because he's a false champ. He's a fraud. He's not champion of anything. He understood fully well what was going to happen on the Qatar card. And it's public knowledge that he was not only offered the Qatar card, but Minicon took his place. What I did to Minicon last January, that was supposed to be Frank. That was supposed to be Tempo Arts, and he ducked that one. And then he got to warm up with Ben Knights, and big ups Ben Knights for taking that fight. But Ben Knights is not a fighter. He's fucking 2 inches away from being employed at Willy Wonka's factory. You know what I mean? Like, and then he got, an offer to fight in Qatar on a huge pay-per-view super card. He said no, he's gonna retire and be a dad. And he found out he's having a kid. And without saying too much, if you don't think that the offer was on the table to fight me, then you're deluded. He doesn't want the fight. He knows what's going to happen, and it is what it is. I don't think he's in shape. I don't think he's a good boxer, and I think out of all of them, the dude from Love Island, he probably doesn't know how to fight. Who else is on there? That Godson guy. He's a walking coward to me. And yeah, the only one I see winning that is Big Tobes.
So, Mams, I pose a question then. The winner of the tournament, does that face the winner of obviously Chase's fight? I mean, if all goes to plan and Chase wins that fight, well, obviously in plan of Chase's anyhow, do we see those two face off on a later card this year?
I believe so. Yeah, that's the plan. So you'll
Yeah,
see the
it's already
winner of
written.
Survivor Tag, hopefully face off against the winner of the heavyweight title bout.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, it's already written, guys. Like, listen. I could take a nap. I could take a nap and sleep from now until fight night. Wake up with one arm, go beat up Tanner Tolman, hop on a flight, go home, party, come back, and then beat up every one of them heavyweights fighting on that card. Easy.
Well, it's going to be an exciting night, and you're right. It's the most heavyweights we've had on one card in one night. So It's
My
gonna.
Yeah, my actual question is like, okay, so now that Roman's now fighting on the Fury promotions, this, that, and the other. So the issue that I'm having with the Roman is when he comes scrambling back along looking to get a fight. Here's the thing: is it gonna be, one of those mega fight? Even if he loses, like, did you run the risk of him losing that fight and then not being ideal for us to fight on Misfits?
Um, Look, he hasn't started his Misfits journey. So look, if he loses the fight and then you lose interest and the fans aren't interested in that fight, then it is what it is. But let's
Well,
let's
time.
let's be honest. It's their own show that they're putting on, so it's unlikely that him or Tommy are gonna lose.
Yeah, this is
Now, Gotti, I know you have a few questions lined up for Mams as well. As I know we're sort of heading to the end of this space as well. So, is there any other questions you wanted to run through?
I do have one question which relates to the idea of the survivor tag fighting the winner of Chase versus Tank. And the question from Real Bobby is thoughts on the winner of Fox versus Waleed fighting the winner of Knight versus Housen, and then that winner goes for a title shot.
I think that's kind of loosely been the plan. You don't want to make solid plans and announce that to be the case 100% because so many things could change in the interim, but I think that makes a lot of sense for sure.
I think personally that is an absolute banger of a fight. The idea of either Waleed or Fox fighting either Joey or Andy just it creates. I don't know what I'm trying to waffle, but it's a really good fight.
I mean, look, we've got to see. Cray Cray's going to have a very interesting next fight as well. We're waiting for Dean to come back, but I don't know that Dean's going to get an immediate title shot. Fox has said that he after this fight he wants to, obviously this is his intention, and Waleed is a very tough fight, so we'll see what happens. But Fox and Waleed both want to fight Dean after this fight as well. So that's also another possibility. Um, there's a lot. The lightweight division is very stacked, and it's definitely heavy on the crossover side because most people around that weight class are pretty skilled.
Definitely, definitely. And we've got Ty Mitchell who's joining the space, who is facing Idris Virgil for the MF Pro light heavyweight title in the co-main. Ty, how are you doing?
Hi guys, yeah, I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you?
Good, Ty. Good to have you with us. Really excited about this fight. I think it's definitely a fight of the night contender. How do you see it going?
No, I'm gonna put a beating on him, man. It's gonna be such a mismatch. It's gonna be such a mismatch. After May 16th, no one's even gonna speak about Idris in boxing again. It's gonna be irrelevant because he's been robbing the public trying to fight non-boxers. He's a bully. That's what he is. He just tries to fight influencers that are not boxers. He was brought up boxing. He's got an undefeated professional record of like I think he had like maybe 15 fights as a pro. To then call out people who've had one fight, I don't like. So I'm going to teach him a lesson, and I'm going to bully the bully.
You've called him out even before being on Misfits a few times, so I think this has been brewing for a while.
Yeah, years. I've been trying to get at him for years because he's just a big loudmouth. With isn't do you know what everyone's like? Oh, he's rubbish. You're gonna bury him. He's not a rubbish boxer. He's an average boxer, but he talks like he's a world champion, and I just think I'm just gonna show him. Actually, I don't think he's ever been in the ring with a real fighter, so we're gonna see. He's gonna see what a real fighter does to him because I'm gonna put a proper masterclass on.
Yeah, well, it's I mean, I've been hearing that he's made vast improvements. I think this is going to be a fantastic fight. I think he's very confident. You're very confident. This spells banger all over it.
He could
But
train with Freddie Roach, Ben Davidson, Tony Sims, every best trainer in the world you can think of. There's not going to be enough to improve him in this space of time to even compete with me. Let's just be honest. Um,
what's your prediction for the fight? How does it go?
do you know what it is? It's hard to make. I was thinking this, and it's hard to make a prediction because I don't know. He's never lost, so I don't know how much heart he's got. All I know is he's either going to get knocked out on his shield, or I feel like he's going to quit. I feel like he's going to quit halfway through, fake an injury, and rob me of getting a spectacular knockout. But if he's a man and goes out swinging like a man, I'm just going to embarrass him, show him actually what boxing is, and I'm going to take him out in a severe way. He won't go past 4 rounds.
Wow, that's going to be a hell of a fight. I know a lot of people want to see Idris lose.
Yeah.
And you know, he's got some fans as well who want to see him win, and he's determined. So it's going to be a great night. It's going to be in your hometown, so you've got the home court advantage, obviously. Who
Mhm.
do you? We were just speaking about the Furies,
Yeah.
and Chase Demoor's up here with us, the Misfits heavyweight champ. How, in your opinion, would, I know you're close with them and you've sparred with them, how would the fight with Chase and Roman have gone?
Oh, why you put me on the spot like this, man?
Because
Chase is my guy and he's in the chat. Do you
well,
know?
what do you think?
I'll be completely honest. He wouldn't beat Roman. Roman's too good, man. Roman is after Tyson is the best Fury boxer. He's a lot better than Tommy. Um, and he can really punch. I've been in the ring with him, and he when he first started and he was okay. Then I sparred him like a couple of years later, and he made very big improvements. He's very good, Roman. Like,
Listen, Ty. Before you
I'm
give
sorry,
your
Casey, my
opinion,
boy, bro.
no,
I'm
it's good,
sorry.
it's good. Hop in the ring with me, you spar with me, and then you come with that decision. Because
Okay,
you can't
yeah,
speak
true.
blindly and biasly and say, oh, he's my guy. I've sparred with him and his brother. He's the second. You've never even been in the ring with me. You don't
I'm
know my
saying I can
style. You
only
don't
go
know
on
how I
from what I've
fight.
seen. I'm going on from what I've seen, not from the sparring. I'm saying he
I,
made improvements, but I'm saying from your last fight and his last fight, I'd pick him. However, we can spar, and then maybe I might have a different opinion. But at the
That's
minute,
fair. That's fair.
I,
just from what I've seen from both of your last fights, I think he's a more skilled fighter.
I mean, let's
That's fair.
let's not do if buts or maybes. We've got Tank Tolman here. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's a mistake that he's looking past me, but he's talking. He wants to keep Roman Fury's name in his mouth so that he can get that fight. But yeah, he's making a mistake, and I really want him to train hard for this fight because I don't want him to have any excuses to back out on when he's laying on his back on the canvas, which is fine, or he just quits in his corner like he did against Alan Belcher.
what? Sorry, buddy, I didn't quit.
You spit out your mouth guard twice, and then you took a drink, and the ref called it. I would call that quitting, which is fine. Props to you for taking that fight because it was on a day's notice. But yeah, don't look past me, man. You that would be a mistake on your part.
I mean, Tank, what's your thoughts on Chase's ability? A lot of people have criticized him heavily on his boxing ability. So, what's your thoughts on it?
He's still here, isn't he? He's got that belt around his waist. Props to him for sticking through it, and he's gotten better. So that's definitely credit where credit is due. But yeah, we're building a good, solid game plan to counter what he has to offer, and yeah, it's gonna be a good
So,
fight. I
anyways,
think.
going back to my last fight that I had. So, yeah, second round knockout in my last fight. Before that, I fought Kells. So I was speaking with
That
Ty
was
before. So Ty, so listen.
a
So Ty,
sparring match coming
you
in
and I are gonna set
Mexico.
up a spar, and then I
Thank you
want your
for
honest opinion.
boosting the Mexican me by giving that guy a little paycheck because that was
Oh, what's this? What's going
that
on
was a
here?
glorified sparring match. Good for you to get the experience you need.
So yeah. So anyway, so second round knockout again in a fight just last month. I've actually had two fights since the Kells fight, both knockouts actually. So I mean, not really sure what we're implying. You guys can say what you want about the opponents, but if you look at Roman's opponents have a combined loss record of almost 90. 90. For those of you that don't know, he's done the exact same thing that every boxer has done. So, and mind you, he's gone the distance with guys that have a combined record of 90. So, people can have their opinions, especially if you're biased and you're in camp with people and you're sparring with them all the time. I don't really care because you can talk about my style, you can talk about what I look like, you can talk about this and that. But the thing is, I've never been dropped on the canvas. and I haven't lost a fight in like 3 years. I'm on a 5 or 6 fight win streak now. So until somebody comes along and shuts me up, you guys can take all your opinions and you can shove them up your ass. I'll beat up Roman, I'll beat up Tank, and I'll beat up anybody who Mans puts in front of me. How about that?
Tank, what do you think of that? Oh, Tank's not in speakers anymore.
There we go. We're back.
Oh, you're back. Yeah. What do you think of what Chase had to say? How do you feel?
Oh no,
And
I
how
didn't
do you?
hear it. The guy talks. It's what he is. He's a good radio show personality, and that's what people love and hate him for, and that's why I wanted to fight him.
Chase was concerned, saying that you're going to pull out because you're going to get injured because you've been injured previously. How confident are you that you're going to be injury free and in full health for this camp?
Oh, I'm fully confident. Like these injuries were the first injuries that I've had in 25 years of competing in sports. The only injuries I've ever had, and they're quite, yeah, it's a tendon rupture, but honestly, once it's repaired, it's good to go. I'm fully confident. Stronger than I've ever been, faster than I've ever been. So if he's trying to look at old fight tape that was over 10 years old, he's going to be fighting a completely different person.
Well, we can't wait for this fight.
Yeah, we're
Misfits
going to throw
heavyweight
hammers,
title.
Mams. It's going to be night and day difference from the last time he was in the Misfits cage. It's going to be exciting. It's not going to be a
We're in a
grappling
ring.
snooze fest where
It's a ring, buddy. It's a ring. It's not a cage. And you're not Kells.
I'll
Do
face
you
you in a
understand?
cage.
Do you
Whatever
understand
you
how?
want.
Do you know how big Kells is? You talk about a grappling, buddy. I've had
You
2
said he
fights
was
since the Kells.
4 inches taller than you?
He was 2 inches taller than me and 40 pounds heavier. Also, like that's beside the. I've had 2 fights since Kells. You're talking about Kells from November. I fought in December.
Is
I fought
that
in March.
you're calling those fights? You're honestly
How,
calling those fights. That's fine. That's
they're
okay.
more.
We'll let you do that.
Both of them
We'll
are
let you
more
do that.
experienced than Kells. Both of the fighters that I fought were undefeated boxers. Kells technically was an undefeated boxer too, but like you're comparing because their physiques, buddy, their physiques are the same as yours. Like, what are you talking about?
You haven't even seen my physique, which is hilarious.
Like,
Most
what? But
people
I
make
don't.
the
I'm just
funny
trying.
assumption
I'm
I'm just
trying to.
this tiny little Viking in
I'm
furs,
not saying
but
you're
my
tiny.
nickname
It's
is
just,
Tank for a reason, and you'll
yes,
find
okay.
out.
Well,
You'll
and listen,
find out.
just like I said to Kells, they don't call me the GOAT for no reason, buddy.
I'm a Viking
Sound
and
like
you eat
Anthony
goats for
Taylor now.
breakfast, so enjoy that, my friend.
What happens when you send a Viking to a GOAT? We've been down
They
this
eat
road
them for
before.
breakfast.
I heard that about the lion too.
roast roast
Heard that about
goat
the
is
lion
quite
too.
tasty, and
Listen, I'm gonna give you some facts right here, Tank. I'm gonna give you some facts right here. One, when was the last time you had an organized boxing match?
that's a cool fact.
Exactly, exactly. Secondly, your MMA career, the only film on you from MMA was from 14 years ago. Buddy, 14 years ago, I was in the 5th grade.
That's fantastic. So I'll
14
be
years,
beating up
I was in the
someone
5th
that
grade.
so I can argue the same thing you argued with Tempo. Call
Now,
Child Protective Services for what happens.
Tank, I need to ask you. This is someone's asking me repeatedly on Twitter. The bloodline of Ragnar Lothbrok. How true is it that that was one of your ancestors, and you still to this day draw strength from him?
I've never claimed that bloodline, which is hilarious. I do have the bloodline of Vikings with the red beard, but I draw strength from where I need it is inside myself.
Okay,
I
okay,
do,
but you do you are you, it's just something we're not publicly sharing, but you do have Ragnar's blood and running coursing through your veins and giving you the strength of the gods.
yeah, well, here's the thing. He's gonna need more than the strength of the gods to last against me in that ring.
Well, we're very excited for this fight. It's going to be a banger. I love that you have that confidence coming into this fight. Um,
Well, here's the
and
thing.
yeah,
I don't want him to take a break. I don't want him. I want him to ramp up his training. I don't want him to have any excuse. Like, yeah, we didn't have any or anything, so this guy, so I just was gonna treat it
Excuse me.
as a automatic.
Tank, Tank, Tank. I'm 27 years old. If I lost to you, I would retire from boxing, buddy. You're talking
You
about
lost to Alan Belcher, and he's 40.
what are you talking about? I went the distance with Alan Belcher 2 years ago
You quit
in
on
my
his
third
fifth.
ever fight against a heavyweight champion. Buddy, if I fought Alan Belcher now, I would beat him. You got to do your research. You're talking about Misfits fights from years ago. Watch the last five of my fights. They're all knockouts. Like, buddy, do some research. Don't make the same stupid mistake as everybody makes on here. Because you got a bunch of uneducated people in the chat that just think that the DAZN Misfits fights are your entire boxing career. A lot of us build careers behind the scenes. All right. Listen, if you go in there and be the first person at 40 something years old to beat Chase Demoor at his peak, then you would be a world champion. Just so you know that you're talking about a next to impossible task. Next to impossible. I would have to go out there and break my ankle to lose to you.
Well, we're gonna see what happens, and I don't want you taking a break. I want you to ramp up your training. I
I'm
want the
about to take a
best
nap, bro.
version of you in that ring, so when we face off, there's no doubts. No doubts.
Listen, I hope, I pray. Like I always say this to everybody. One day I'm gonna find out. I ask any of my friends. I always say, one day I'm gonna find out. Until that day happens, I'm gonna keep running my mouth because I have yet to been dropped by anybody. So if those hammers in your fists are gonna be the first ones to drop me, then holy shit. Holy shit. You must be the next Mike Tyson.
I wouldn't put my name next to his, but these hammers in
Li-
your face to show.
Listen, how about this? I'll make you a deal. If you beat me, you can cut my man bun off. All right. If I beat you, I get to shave that beard off your face.
How long you been thinking about that one?
I just thought of it just now when I'm looking at your profile picture.
We'll table that. That's
And I
my
want you to
deal.
braid it like a Viking. I want you to braid it like a Viking. So when I put it in my shadow box with my gloves and my shorts, that I have it right there.
A little lock of hair from the opponent that puts you on your ass.
I
That's
hope so.
sentimental. I like that.
Right. Well, these two are gonna be facing each other off on the Misfits 21 card. Mams, I think we should go back to the questions and then hopefully wrap the space up soon.
Yeah, please. Let's do it. I can't wait for this fight. I love the confidence. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and it promises a lot of action.
Oh, it's gonna be a heavy hitter fight. Now, I have a heavy hitter question for you. And I'm gonna ask a question that I think everyone in the space wants to know. Um, KSI, he's pulled out of Dylan Dennis. When do you think we could see him return this year? And could this potentially be with His Excellency Turkey Al Sheikh?
It could well be. There are talks happening right now, and I think so I don't compromise anything that's going on. Let me not say much, but yeah, we're all excited for KSI's return. But he has made it clear there is a list, and it's got to be one person from the list of six that I have on me now.
Ooh, exciting. Now, I know you said you can't talk about it too much, but we do have a question from user Turbos. He asks, would the undercard of a KSI Turkey Al Sheikh event include Misfits fighters, or will it be similar to the KSI Logan 2 card with Matchroom?
Again, can't really go into, but let's see how it plays out. We'll get into the finer details, I think, after the fight gets finalized.
Awesome. And I think we're gonna wrap it up with this last question. It's been a good space. Let me just pick one final question to ask from the KSI Twitter space. Sorry, KSI Twitter community. Which again, if everyone's listening and you're not in this community for whatever reason, go ahead and join. Best community on Twitter. Uh, duh, 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 duh. Oh yes. Um, we got a question from Chatty the Chump, and he asks about Darren Till. Now we know Darren Till is facing Darren Stewart this event headlining. Could we see, or not could we see, sorry, he tweeted recently that the Echo Arena in Liverpool seems to be getting booked for the summer. Can we get any hints or any bits of information on that kind of event that could be happening in the summer?
Not yet, but I've like I said earlier on in the space, we're gonna see Darren Till having some very big fights this year.
Let me at him. Let me at him.
Who's that? Was that Ty?
Yep.
That would be an interesting one for sure. There's some big fights for Ty as we know as well, but Idris Virgo is the hurdle right in front of you right now, so we can't get too far ahead. But whoever wins that fight, we can definitely guarantee they've got some big fights ahead of them, be it Idris or Ty.
I want
Obviously
Darren
me.
Till. I want Darren Till.
I want Darren Till. Everyone wants Darren Till. Everyone's the big fight.
Yeah, Darren Till's gonna have an active year for sure. So we're
Actually,
excited
give me
about that.
Tommy. I want Tommy. I don't want anybody else. Give me Tommy. Cruiserweight. Let's go.
You can't be a cruiserweight. How can you can't get less? You can't get to 200 pounds, can you, Chase?
Hey, listen, man. I could just not eat. It's all right.
Yeah, man. You got to.
Mams, can I ask you a
Yeah,
question? Is Ben Davis, is he commentating on the next show?
Ben's with us right now.
Oh yeah, I can see him. Ben, are you is he
Yeah,
commentating?
yeah, I will be there in Derby. Quite excited to call another Ty Mitchell performance on X Series. We'll see if
Love that.
Idris Virgo has enough for you.
Yeah, I love that. I'm glad because I love that. I loved your commentary on the last one, man. It was great. So I'm glad you're gonna be with us again.
Hey, I can't wait, brother.
Nice one.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, is there any more questions in for Mams Taylor? I don't know if Ghazi have any more prepped, but I
I
think
have a
that's.
question. I have
Oh,
a
okay,
question.
Chase. There you go. There you go. Always questions.
Why did we pick Darby?
Because it's the home of the champ.
Derby's gorgeous, especially if you like cows like I do.
Okay, so yeah, so since we're lying in this chat, did you guys see me chin Tyson Fury the other day? It was crazy, guys.
Wait, what?
Wow, wow, wow.
Wow, wow, wow.
All
Well, I
right. Well,
think this has been. Oh, sorry, Mams. I was going to say, I think this has been a great space. I think now that we've got Ben Davis back in the scene, I think we should hand it off to him to end the space.
Sure. Sounds good. X Series 21 back better than ever. It will be a fantastic main event between Darren Till and Darren Stewart. Stewart, excuse me. Title could change hands with one Ty Mitchell getting a shot. Make sure you view it on DAZN May 16th. We'll see you there.